Welcome to Transformation with Martinet. Martinet Emmons is a transformational life coach who broke free from childhood abuse, sexual trauma, and overcame cancer to become a powerful force of healing and hope for others. Martinet describes traumatic events as fierce emotional tsunamis. They can leave impending doom and destructive tidal waves of emotions that hit you when you least expect it. Martinet helps her clients dive into the depths of their trauma and pain as she stands fiercely advocating for them to shine a light on those experiences and find the lesson in the pain. She serves as a beacon of hope that guides you to see the strength, lessons, and purpose that can be born from the pain. You can feel alive with purpose again when you awaken your dormant strength, step into your power with a sense of peace, and discover a new wave of hope with the right tools and support. Martinet and her guests are here shining their lights today through empowering stories of hardship and transformation to inspire you to find hope and to see that there is a beautiful blue ocean of serenity, happiness, and fulfillment in your future. Transformation with Martinet starts now.
Welcome everyone to Transformation with Martinet, where we overcome everything and compromise nothing. I'm so excited to be back again today. My show, for everyone who doesn't know, is about hope. The guests that I invite on my show all believe, as I do, that we as humans are resilient and we can get back up from anything. They and me, we are proof of this. So also, if you don't know, my show is every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And without further ado, I want to welcome my colleagues, my friends, power couple, my very first couple on my show, Robert and Cathy Casteel. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello. Thank you, Martinet. It's so awesome to be a part of your community again. I just love being around you and the energy that you bring.
Oh, thank you. Same.
For those that don't know me, my name is Cathy Casteel. I'm an international neurotransformational life coach. What that means is I help people that just want a better life, whether it's through health, wellness, life itself, or relationships, which is, kind of a little bit of what we're going to share about today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm Robert Casteel. I'm also a international neurotransformational coach. And, relationships are so important.
Mm-hmm.
And not only just relationships, but the partnerships that go along with them.
Oh, absolutely.
In love relationships and in friendships and in business relationships.
Oh, 100%. And none of them are really easy, are they?
No.
It's interesting. People say that we have a phenomenal marriage. But don't get me wrong, we have a incredible marriage and there's room for improvement. See, I know there's things that not everybody sees. So it's interesting. People think, oh, because you're both life coaches, it must be so easy. No, it's not. It's maybe a little easier, but it's not easy because you got to leave the coaching shirt, aside and just come in as a human.
That's the thing, you got to remember in your relationship to take off that hat.
Yeah,
right.
Sometimes gets us in hot water.
I'm familiar with that. My husband doesn't do coaching, but sometimes that's like a different dynamic as well, because I want to go in there and I want to put that hat on. I got to remember that's not the person I can put the hat on with. Not really, unless he's open and he's like, okay, well, yeah, okay, we can try something. Doesn't work out. Absolutely. Yeah. So what, my show is about hope. So what would you guys want to share, either together as a couple or even some, an individual story to show hope to our listeners?
Interestingly enough, so when you approached me, it was so like divine timing. We talk about this all the time, Arnett.
Yeah.
And we had just come back from Phoenix. We decided to do a relational retreat, relational seminar, whatever.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, both me and my husband have done a lot of self-development individually. and we
Right.
really haven't done anything together as a couple.
Right.
And so we decided to go away to this seminar, and it was phenomenal. And the information that we learned is was so impactful for us just in, the 3 weeks, 4 weeks that we've been able
Mhm.
to apply it, that we actually would love to share some of that information with you and your listeners, because I feel like something that can change our relationship in 2 weeks to 3 weeks
Oh,
is
heck yeah.
profound information. And so it goes for relationships, partnerships, marriages,
Mhm.
doesn't matter. When I use the term relationships or partnerships, I'm using that interchangeably, whether it's through dating, friends, or an actual partnership in a marriage.
Mhm.
So we would like to
Okay.
share some of that information if that's super cool with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so what led you to this? Like what led you to, like you said, you've been through a lot of events, we've been through events together. What led you to this particular one? To grow your business or more just for each other?
Actually, it was more just for each other. And my husband said to me, and you can share your thoughts on it, we had just reached a point where we were just getting more snippy with each other than normal. It was just
Mhm.
something. And Robert kept asking me, like what's going on? Like, why is this going on? And it
Mhm.
was really irritating to know not why, like to have an answer.
Right.
And these people that we went to they have an incredible marriage, and
Mhm.
they've been talking about relationships for many years, and we had a lot of trust in them. And I was like, well, what if there's an answer to this, why we're having our little
Mhm.
disagreements more often, or our, what do you call it, ebb and flow is off? Or I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, I just made an observation that we weren't connected the way we were in the past. We was having
Mhm.
some communication gaps, and we was
Yeah.
just plain disconnected. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, what's going on? Why is this happening? We just asked the question, and we happened to know they was running this program, so we signed up for the program and took the course.
How do you think, like, because I can just think about Eric and me a lot of the times that even just, I think it was this past weekend, there was I don't really know, it's almost like something was in the air, and it was that same little you just want to kind of give them something. And that was kind of going between us. And I'm like, God, I said, there's such a disconnect. And I just decided to say that. And he's like, how do you think that is? I said, I don't know. I guess we both have some stressors on either side right now. Both of us have our own individual careers and all that. But there's just this, how do you think that happens or why?
I think we get to a point, especially even in self-development. I think more so in self-development, we get to a point where we're so attuned to our own stuff and our own
Mm-hmm.
awarenesses that when
Yeah.
it comes to a relationship and you can't diagnose it, and I put that in quotations because we like to diagnose everything, right? Um,
We do. Yeah.
so um it's trying to put it in a box and diagnose it. Like there's
Mhm.
obvious, we think, oh, there's obviously going to be a trigger, oh, there's obviously going to be something I have
Yeah.
to work on or he has to work on. And what I've come to realize over that weekend was that we communicate very well. There's
Mhm.
just a difference in communicating um, to a whole new level between men and women, and
Mhm.
truly understanding. I mean, we got to understand men and women at a whole new level, like
Mhm.
just absolutely um, to a biological level. And so when you can gain that information, it's like that. Why is that happening? It it makes sense now. Like it makes sense to me now. We learned about 4 stages of a man's development. I was like, oh my gosh, now I understand why you act sometimes the way you do. And it's not in a judgment way. now I know how to support you way.
Right.
And that was,
Right.
oh my gosh, to think, to your point, it's like, why is it happening? Is it something wrong with me? Something wrong, I'm sure you probably
Mhm.
thought, is it something wrong with you? And
Yeah. And and also, I mean, women communicate, their communication center is like 3 times bigger than a men.
Right.
So when we don't get stimulated, a lot of times men don't, by communication.
Mhm.
And usually when we do speak, it's usually short and to the point. So, and with that going back and forth, it's like, okay, I look at her sometimes like, just get to the point, please, because you lost me. And when it comes to our daughter, I really look at her like, okay, get to your point, please.
Yeah.
You lost me about 10 minutes ago. What's the point in this story?
Yeah.
So, and just understanding those dynamics that, hey, look, this is what I need for you to do. If that's what a woman says to a guy, this is what I need for you to do. Okay. They'll listen
Mhm.
until you start into left field. That has
Yeah.
absolutely nothing to do with the point.
Right. Right. That makes me think of a lot of things. There's a book, I don't know if I think it could be the Love and Respect one, where she wears the rose-colored glasses and rose-colored hearing aids, and he has the blue ones. It's just completely different. Or my sister-in-law will often describe, which I know is common, waffles and spaghetti. Men are waffles, they compartmentalize everything, and we as women, spaghetti, it just everything goes through. But it's kind of strange though. I find myself a lot of times I do want to get to the point. It's like, okay, you've been talking for forever now. Can we just kind of get in? So I do find myself in that, but I guess that would kind of be the whole masculine, feminine energy thing, right?
When you're in your masculine, you are
Mm-hmm.
to the point.
Mm-hmm.
You're in hunter mode. It's like, get to the point. Let's get this
Yeah.
over with.
Yeah.
When you're in your feminine, and
Mm-hmm.
men and women have both
Yeah.
masculine and feminine. And when you're in
Yeah.
your feminine, it's more storytelling and it's ebb and flow. And it's like, okay, well, you don't have to get to a point at any time soon. We'll just be here until we're done.
Yeah.
and I find letting him know that. And so to all your listeners and to yourself, when you're speaking to one or the other, if you know what mode you're in, let the other one know. That's the greatest gift you can give. Hey, I don't need you to fix anything. I just need you to listen. Cool. I can semi listen and and enjoy and be there and represent, be what we call a trash can for that
Yeah.
person's dump whatever it is they want, and not have to be. That's the biggest gift you can get.
Yeah.
And then the other point is you can say to them, listen, I am mission focused. How much time do you need? Or, articulating, hey,
Mm-hmm.
babe, I need 5 minutes of your time. Let me know when you have 5 minutes.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
someone's
that
trying to
is important.
communicate with you when you're in laser focused mode. That's not the time to sit there. You just, we have to be able to understand that and go back and say, hey, I don't have any time right now. How much time do you need? And set that time aside at a later date.
Yeah, that really makes sense. That makes sense because sometimes we just want to be heard, right? And we don't need your advice, which men always want to usually do, just give the advice. And sometimes it's like, I just want you to hear me. So we're going to pause for a break for a few moments, and then we'll come back to more transformation. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martinet, where we overcome everything and compromise nothing. My guests today are Robert and Cathy Casteel, and we are talking about relationships, masculine, feminine energy, and connecting. And we're talking about all kinds of relationships, not just romantic. So, Robert and Cathy, you mentioned, before on a break and before we started the show, about masks that we wear. And that makes me think of, the different glasses that maybe a woman might be wearing, the rose colored, and the man might be have on some, blue hearing aids, and we're just kind of not connecting. So could you go into that a little bit more about the masks we wear and how to connect within these masks?
Absolutely. And so I will share from the feminine side, and I'll let
Okay.
Robert share his story from the masculine side.
Okay.
So when we start, like when I was born, I was feminine at my core. I wore the
Mhm.
little dresses, had the pigtails, all that
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff, felt really feminine. I had
Mhm.
some traumas in my life that caused
Mhm.
me to switch from that feminine side to be more masculine, a more tomboy, to
Mhm.
protect myself, because at that point, men were dangerous to me.
I get that one. Mhm.
So I put that mask on. And then I wore that for so long. And then girls were getting noticed at school and I wasn't getting noticed. So I want to be noticed. So then I put my feminine mask on. And so
Mhm.
I put that feminine mask on. And again, some things happened in my life where, relationships cheated on, used, all that kind of stuff. And I said, oh,
Mhm.
hell no, that's not going to happen to me again. So then I put the
Yeah.
masculine mask back on, you know,
Mhm.
not so quite the tomboy, but still in protecting. And
Yeah.
I stayed in that for a long time. I don't, some people do, some people don't. I entered corporate America, I entered the military, and a
Mhm.
lot of it's programming. So in the military, I have to, society has labeled you got to perform as women to equally the level of men. So
Mhm.
I'm putting in the energy. I get to compare. I get to outperform. I get to perform as good as. And I did that for so long and wondered
Mhm.
why I wasn't attracting the man of my dreams.
Right.
And then,
Gotcha.
so I think I reached back into my feminine side. I don't think I truly tapped into my feminine essence. I tapped in enough to meet the love of my life. And I found, you said kind of what drove you is I wanted more passion in our
Mhm.
marriage and in our life. And I felt like I was still in that masculine hunter mode, taking care of everything. And I retired from the military um, earlier earlier this year, and I still feel like I haven't taken that mask off. And some of the
Mhm.
masks that we wear, we can be more emotionally attached to. They're more emotionally charged than
Yeah.
other ones. So, mask, 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 mask. And then someone said to me, well, what are you at your core, feminine and masculine? I was like, holy cow, I don't think
Mm.
I Martinet was so sad for me. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so feminine.
Mm.
Just, you know,
Yeah.
flowy, just
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we in society wear these different masks as women, and
Mhm.
and they're not bad. So let me say that it's not bad. It's nice to know though when you're in the masculine and feminine, so that way you can do the dance.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Like we all have to be in masculine mode sometimes as women to get stuff done, to take care of our family, and to find that balance, because my husband does not want to sleep with a, a hairless man. He wants
Yeah.
he wants the feminine to snuggle with at night. So
Yeah.
finding that balance. And I find when we were both in the masculine, it creates friction.
Mhm. Got
So
that softer side.
mhm.
Yeah. And for myself, I mean, at my core, I'm masculine. However, when I was growing up with some of the stuff that happened with my dad and some of the abuse I took, I started becoming the nice guy, the pleaser,
Mhm.
and things like that. I wore that for a while, and then I got into sports
Mhm.
in junior high and stuff, and it's like, okay, well, now I can start dating girls and things like that, and so I stepped into my masculine again,
Mhm.
and then I stepped into feminine when I got cheated on in school.
Mm.
So it's
Right.
like, well, let me be the nice guy again.
Mhm.
So it's these masks you'll put different layers on. And I put my masculine mask when I went to work in the army. I had a masculine mask on.
Mhm.
However, in my first marriage, when I come home, I stepped right back into feminine because of some of the dynamics going on in the relationship. So, and you'll put these masks on off and on. When my daughter was born, I'd go to work, come home, I'd be feminine because she was a little girl and I wanted to play. She couldn't play like a little boy did.
Right.
So it wasn't the same interest. I had no interest in playing with dolls. She
Yeah.
did.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn, I put that feminine mask on. So it's just, we put them on, take them off, but you really don't take them off. They stay there and you just keep building on top of what was there. And, and for a quick definition is the masculine is get to the point, make a decision, and constantly provide, protect, and procreate for the masculine. And for the feminine side, that's ebb and flow. Let's live in human spirit. And for a guy, that's you're the nice guy, you're the people pleaser, and can't make a decision. And as men develop through the stages, when you go from prince to king, which is one of the stages, you go through a tunnel. And when the guys are going through the tunnel, that's usually what a lot of people look at as a midlife crisis. They have challenges making decisions. They view things different ways. And at that point in a relationship, the partner that he's with has to be strong and just wait, because what comes out on the other side of the tunnel is very beautiful. And it's a very strong relationship. And it's challenging sometimes while you're in the tunnel to make those decisions and be in the masculine all the time.
See, and this is what created some of the conflict. So now I can look back and see what created some of the conflict was I had a hunter masculine male when we met. And so as he's going through this tunnel, the opposite of hunter, and a lot of this work, if you're interested in any of it, it's Alison Armstrong's work, her website, AlisonArmstrong.com. She's phenomenal. And so what was happening is he became what we call gathering mode, which is the feminine side, which is open to possibility, ebb and flow. And so here I was used to this man making decisions, and now he was like ebb and flow and lack of decision. And I'm like, oh, make a freaking decision or I'm gonna lose my mind. Like I didn't like all that uncertainty.
Right.
You know? How many times have you all asked or been asked, where do you want to go for dinner? And it's just like, we're like, we don't care. And the guy's thinking, oh my God, if I don't pick the right place, Lord help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want him to make a freaking decision. Like, hello, I don't care. Just make a decision.
Right.
So for all of you that are in that boat, we've kind of come with a little workaround where we'll say, hey, is there something in particular that you're interested in? So we can kind of narrow the choices and hopefully pick the right place.
Yeah.
Right.
With me, I would say, I'd throw a place out. Nope, not interested in that. Second time, okay, well, what about this place? No, not interested in that. All right, now you pick the place. I'm done.
Yeah. I often do that. I've said a few things. If that is okay, you know.
So I started that question. Is there anything in particular that you're craving before I start with the suggestions?
Right. I think there's just like, as we go through our relationship, there's always these changes, because my husband too, it's like, he's the warrior man, but there's been a lot of changes in his career and stuff like that. And there's just been times where, just like you were saying, Cathy, that it'd be like, but should I do this? Well, gosh, I just don't know. And I'm like, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that from him at all. It would just like, he just like boom, boom, boom. He knows what he wants. And it hasn't been that way. And for me, it does take me a while. I will kind of vacillate between things, because there's this, which I've had to work through, fear of failure. Like, oh gosh, what if I do the wrong thing? What if I spend all this money and it doesn't work out? What if I do, what if it doesn't work? But I wasn't used to that with him. And now it's like, we've had to go through these times. But like you said, Robert, it's like, if we can just be patient with each other, be of support, listen, be the best we can, and then the answer will come, and and get back to being smooth again. We just got to remember that we're going to go through these times.
It's being the oak for the other person, being that strong
That's
oak tree for the other person who's going through the crap at the moment, and just being there and taking it and just not taking it personally.
And that's the thing right there, is not to take it personally, because we have a tendency as humans, of course, to get hurt. And Eric and I are both like very like empaths. We feel everything, and things do hurt. So we're going to take a break, and we come back, we'll be talking more about all this good stuff. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martinet, where we overcome everything and compromise nothing. My guests today are Robert and Cathy Casteel, and we've been talking about relationship, all kinds of different relationships. And we ended on a note about, being the oak tree in the storm. And, it's kind of interesting. I've seen the area I live in now, I guess it's only like an hour away, but we've had some intense storms. And some of these trees are just like, it's amazing how they're like bent over, like almost to the side, but they're still hanging on. And in our relationships, I think we need to be that way. I mean, there's some, that could be toxic and we need to let go of. But if we can be strong, especially in our partnership, in our marriage, we can stand the test of time. So
Absolutely.
yeah, can you guys talk more about oak trees and storms? And
Oh yes, because we just had this. We have an example from this past weekend, actually, and it was so great to see it after the fact, to see what had actually happened. So women actually have a fear of safety 2/3 times larger than men, their safety center. So if you ask a male how many times that he has felt unsafe, maybe a handful in his lifetime.
Right.
Women have our safety. We question our safety many times throughout the day. Like when you get out of your car, or when you go somewhere, or
So true.
gosh, when my husband travels and I'm at home in my own house at night,
Right.
So men don't understand, most men don't understand that it's all about safety. They need to feel safe. So being the oak tree means you're being my safety net during whatever happens, and it's the same vice versa. So we call it a rage monster. When I am in focus mode, or I got 20 million things going on, and then he doesn't know, and so he tries to interject in my focus. So my morning routine, I'm like, just don't talk to me. I got my routine. Don't interject anything.
That's me.
And when you do, just my day. So I was having my storm, and it was with another individual because we were sharing a house.
Yeah.
And so we went upstairs, and my husband was basically saying, you could have at least been appreciative. He was trying to help you and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't realize that at the moment I got super annoyed, because I'm like, my morning routine's my morning routine. Like, nobody don't need to mess with it. And fortunately, the other gentleman that was in there, and he was the one that was trying to help, has been in this work, and he understood that I was having a storm. So he was the oak tree. He just stood there, let me say what I had to say, and didn't take any of it personally. And then what I realized later was, I said to my husband, I was so upset at him because I needed him as my husband to be my oak tree, and not the other guy, because he's who I look to for safety. He's the one that, if anything's going to happen, I know will protect me. And at that moment, I didn't feel protected.
Because he stood up for him, kind of, like, yeah, gotcha.
And sometimes when we have disagreements and the rage monster's going on my end, he'll go downstairs and work in the shop. And I didn't understand that I actually would get more annoyed because I felt unsafe. Like at some point, and it's not like you consciously know this stuff is going on. I'm
Yeah.
subconsciously thinking he may leave me.
Right.
You know, if he walks out on this disagreement in this fight, what prevents him from walking out if it gets really bad?
The abandonment. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's real for us women.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Super real. So I'll let
Especially
you.
depending upon what we grew up with.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And you do it unbeknownst.
As the guys, to provide a safety net for the women, you might not be liking what's coming out. Just stand there, and at some point, the storm will wind down,
Mhm.
and you can ask for a timeout at that time, so you can go and calm down a little bit
Mhm.
and not yell and stuff. But just if you do need to take a timeout because it's really been intense, just make sure they're accepting of you stepping out for a few minutes.
Mhm.
Just tell them, look, hey, I got to take a time out for a few minutes. I'll be right back.
Mhm.
And that will reduce some of the fear factor of they're leaving me.
Right.
And that's, I mean, our fear, our brains were developed centuries, many centuries ago.
Mhm.
Back when we were hunters and gatherers, the women in the caveman days went out and gathered the berries
Mhm.
and things like that, and the men went and hunted the food that was put on the table or on the fire, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, and it was the guys when it was the men that ran out to defend the women
Mhm.
that were in the cave protecting the kids or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
So when guys are running away from a fight with the women, they feel the insecurity, and it's not going to help the relationship any by stepping out.
And I have to be the same way when men have rage,
Oh,
rage
for
monsters
sure.
too.
Mhm.
And me as a woman, I may not enjoy hearing what he has to say.
Yeah.
I just need to know that it's not intentional. It's
Mhm.
the rage monster speaking.
Yep.
And I have to drop into my human spirit of just loving him, sending him buku love
Mhm.
while that's going on,
Yep.
and be his oak tree. And
Mhm.
for the same thing, if I need to walk away, after the storm has settled, I will say to him, I'll say to
Mhm.
Robert, hey, I need, 10, 15 minutes. Can we circle back around in about 15 minutes
Mhm.
to talk about what just happened?
Yeah. I
So
think that's key right there, is to say you're going to be back, because I know we've had some fights and we'll storm away from each other, and sometimes it's like you'll storm back real quick and it's still nasty, and then back, but now we've kind of gotten to the point in our marriage now, it's like, okay, let's just take a time out. There's nothing wrong with that. We're human, things get said, things come out sometime the way you don't want them to, but they do. And taking that time out kind of helps to soothe it a little bit, and then you can come back with a little more grace, strength, calm. And something you both said, I was just wondering, being especially former military, there's got to be a lot more unsafety in both of your heads in regards to relationships and stuff, right?
well,
Or
I think for me, I accept the unsafe environment of the military, as funny as that is, maybe because I know the consequences, right? I willingly
Mhm.
got into it. It's
Right.
interesting in the dynamic, and I just didn't connect the dots till you asked the question,
Mhm.
is that I accept the unsafe in the military because when I put on that uniform, I transform myself into
Oh,
that mode.
that makes sense a
When I'm
lot.
out of
Mhm.
uniform and I'm his wife, I
Mhm.
don't want to be unsafe.
Right.
And it's actually, I took a picture. Um, One thing to make me feel most connected and most loved was I took a picture of us hugging each other because
Mhm.
I feel my most at safe in peace when
Yeah.
I had my head on his shoulder hugging him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't realize it's because I feel most safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. My oldest daughter said something like, well, Eric's son, we're a blended family. He has two boys. I have 2 girls and a boy. And my oldest daughter got married last year, eloped, and then Eric's oldest son just proposed. And they took a picture, and it's really sweet. It's like that, where he's holding her and, her head is on his shoulder. And Eric and I had one like that as well, taken. And my oldest daughter like, oh, that's kind of cheesy. And I'm like, oh, maybe to you. I think it's sweet. It's romantic. That's your safe space. That's your safe space to fall, you know. I love that myself,
I don't think we value it as much, and I don't know what it feels for you when you're hugging me. My head's there. I would love to hear what you have to say. I think when we see that, though, we know how we feel, that safeness and contentness, that we see it in photos, and then we're like, oh, it makes that so warm too, because they're like, oh, she must feel safe and content and happy.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, I'm in more of a protection mode when that's happening, because I know that your guard is down.
Oh, that's a good point.
So, and I'm in more protection mode, so I know in order to cherish it and have it more, that I have to be in more protection mode. So
Okay.
I'm more alert about what's going on around myself.
Are you feeling into the love though? Like, are you
Yes.
allowing yourself to feel her love?
I feel the love, but I'm
Yeah.
also fully aware of what's going on around me at the time.
Okay. Does that depend upon where you are? Say you're at home, or if you're out somewhere?
Out somewhere is mostly.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm out
Okay.
somewhere is at home. I know it's a safe
Yeah.
area, so
Yeah.
I don't really have to worry about it. But when I'm out somewhere, I'm in full protection mode, because I know
Okay.
your guard is down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
guys really can diminish their partners by being angry and by yelling at them
Yeah.
and being inattentive about what's going on at the time. So,
Yeah,
standing there
that
being
is
an
for
oak
sure.
tree is challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
But you got to do it. If you want the relationship to be strong and for it to be there, then you've got to be the oak tree and stand there and take the storm as it comes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's not personal.
That's it right there. It's just all these emotions, and sometimes we just have a harder. I mean, we are more allowed to express than a man is, us as female, but yeah, there's just we don't mean any harm. Hardly ever do we really mean any harm. We're just expressing ourselves. Yeah. So we are going to take a break again, and we will be back very soon with some tips on how to make your marriage better. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back, everyone, to Transformation with Martinet, where we overcome everything and compromise nothing. My guests today, Robert and Cathy Casteel, and we've been talking about relationships, and we want to finish off the show with tips, tips to be that oak tree, tips to really support our relationships, partnerships, friendships. So take it away, Robert and Cathy.
Well, thank you. So for us, there's two major tips that I think that has been a game changer for us. I think the first one is knowing when either one of us is in hunter mode or gatherer mode. And just to kind of elaborate on that, I know we're touching these things kind of superficially. Again, Allison's done over 30 years of work on this. So please, if you want to dive in more, go to her website or reach out to me, and I'll provide it.
Actually, Cathy, tell everybody where they can reach you. I'm so sorry, I forgot.
Absolutely. They can go to smcoachinggroup.com. So it's
All
M as in
right.
Michael, S as in Sam, M as in Michael, coachinggroup.com.
And your names are there, Robert and Cathy Casteel.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so we both can be in hunter or gatherer. So when we're in hunter mode, we're laser focused. It's like you're going out back in the caveman ages and you're hunting a deer. You got to be laser focused because you got to feed your family.
Right.
So gathering mode is when you're open to possibility. People can make suggestions. It's a good example is sometimes I go to the store and I want to go to the store and get exactly what I need and leave.
Right.
There, I am in and out in 5.
Mm,
That's when I'm in hunter mode.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll go to the grocery store, I'll go to the mall and I'll walk around and I'll look and I'll see what's in there. What do they have for sales? Like,
Yeah.
that's gathering mode.
Right.
So when somebody, we're learning better at this, but there's times that he's come to engage me, ask me a question, do something, and I'm in hunter mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he's interrupting me and I'm like laser focused, then I'm going, "Arr." Like, you're interrupting me.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
here. So it's understanding that when I'm in that mode, that he understands like a little rage monster might come out at him. It's
Yeah.
not intentional. So
Mhm.
when you're with somebody, you have a partner, spouse, a partnership, when they're laser focused, the best thing that you can do is just say, hey, I get a question for you, or I need to talk to you about something.
Mhm.
When do you have whatever, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes,
Right.
whatever it's going to be? Then you're less apt to get into those like matches back and forth or forgetting things. I would interrupt Robert and ask him a question or ask
Mhm.
him to do something, not realizing he was in hunter mode, focused on something.
Right.
And then I'm ticked off at him because he's not doing it. And I'm like, I asked you an hour ago to take the trash out. Like,
Yeah.
and then, you can, I guess, talk on my gathering mode and how that works for him.
Yeah.
So there's times when I can tell when she's in gathering mode and I know that I'm not going to get a decision. And it's like, all right, we need to talk about this here for whatever it is. And
Mhm.
it's like, we'll do it later.
Yeah.
Do it later.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, it's getting to the point where there is no more later. We've got to talk about it now. So switch gears and go into hunting mode so we can knock this out so we can go do something else.
Yeah.
And sometimes she'll be in hunting mode working on the computer and I'm in hunting mode on something else. And I need a response from her. And it's like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then I get snipped at. So I'll go back out and do what I was doing. And then knowing that she's going to come out when she gets done
Mhm.
with what she's doing. And one of the things she even ran a test on me on one time. She's like, "Hey, can you take the trash out?" And I was working on a spreadsheet. When I'm
Mhm.
working on numbers in a spreadsheet, it's complicated sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
like I'm working on it, and she's like, she waited 5 minutes, and I finally answered, "Yes, I'll take the trash out as soon as I finish this."
Mhm.
And she waited until she heard me shut the laptop, and I went and took the trash out like she asked me to.
Yeah.
So just appreciating that when someone is in hunting mode, don't mean they didn't hear you.
Yeah.
They might not acknowledge you, but it don't mean they didn't hear you.
Right.
They're just
Right.
to a space where they can respond, where they consider it appropriate to respond at that time.
Right. And it's not, you're not ignoring, because we've gone through that quite a bit, like, did you hear me? Yes, but I'm focusing right now. I will handle it. Just, yeah.
Exactly. And just giving each other grace.
Yeah.
And that falls into the human spirit.
Right. Right.
I'll let you talk about spirit.
Yeah. So it's truly interesting. Just to I just want to make one point on that before we shift gears is to the next tip is that is super, how many arguments or disagreements or discussions or whatever term you call it, you
Yeah.
can save if you just know what mode your partner's in.
Mhm.
And I'm beginning to realize what mode I'm in when I do certain things. When I'm getting ready to pack, I know I'm in hunter
Right.
mode. When I'm doing my morning rituals, I'm in hunter mode.
Yeah.
So just
When you're doing
knowing
laundry.
when I'm doing laundry, I'm in hunter mode. So there are certain things that I'm doing. When you're doing those things on a regular basis, you can start to look at it. So human animal and human spirit. Human animal, I'll let you talk about human animal, but human spirit is when you tap into, what if it was for the greater good? Like, what
Mhm.
if nothing was meant by it? What if all I do is just know that I love this person and give them love?
Mhm.
And not attack, just be in a space of love and gratitude and joy. That's being human spirit, when you can just be the beautiful gift that you were without
Mhm.
judgment, and yes, just love, gratitude, and peace.
Yeah, and when someone's operating a human animal, you can usually tell that when, for instance, a soldier in a combat zone is operating in human animal,
Mhm.
because their mission is to defend whatever they're defending.
Mhm.
So they're operating human animal. But society nowadays is operating in so much human animal that you're driving down the road and you got this person doing road rage against you, all because you didn't use a blinker to
Right.
move over
Right.
or something like that. So that's where the rage is coming in. That's where the anger is coming in. And human animal has a place it's needed to be.
Mhm.
It has a place. However, that's not where we're supposed to be operating at. Human
Mhm.
spirit is a better place to be operating instead of human animal. Firefighters, they operate in human animal when they're going in to fight a fire. Police
Right.
officers.
Yeah.
And then
So
when you're done that and you leave, you drop into human spirit.
Mhm.
You say, oh, that dude cut me off. Oh, okay, whatever, no big deal. Or, hey, you have a different political view than me. Oh, okay, it's okay to have two different.
Exactly. Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. It does. And it's just remembering we are human. and we're going to have our days, and like I say, you're going to be in hunter mode, or you're going to be in gathering mode, whatever these different things are, human spirit, human animal, and just have grace and kindness for each other. So in the last 30 seconds, what would you guys like to say to everyone? And that can just be a promotion, whatever you promote people to you.
yeah, if ladies want to really get a guy, show them appreciation. Appreciate what they do for you. Appreciate how they respond to you. Just show men appreciation if you want a stronger relationship. And guys, if you want the women to respond to you, be genuine in your responses. Hey, you look gorgeous today, baby.
Thank you. And I appreciate you helping me get everything set up today so we can do this.
You're welcome. So
Showing the love,
right.
the love, coming from genuine love, and not being and being vulnerable, and being authentic, right? Yeah. Thank you so much, you guys. I so appreciate you, both of you, being here. I so appreciate you just for who you are, and the friendship and relationship that we have. So thank you, everyone, for all listeners. Thank you so much. And please tune in next Friday, or every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for listening to Transformation with Martinet. Did listening today spark a sense of hope and possibility? Hold on to this feeling and tune in every second and fourth Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific for more inspiring conversations with Martinet and her guests. They will show you there is hope, and you are right where you need to be. Martinet is dedicated to supporting you right where you are, while launching you towards promise, passion, and possibility that leads to the fulfilled life your heart aches for. If you're tired of being stuck, schedule a complimentary consultation with Martinet and get on the exciting path towards the life you want to be living. Visit martinetemmons.com and make your appointment today.